Back with closing trades, we were just chatting about the direction that the market is taking today, and it continues to be weak. We saw 0.3% cut yesterday, and that cut is further elongated today, about 0.5% cut on the Nifty, and so far it's not shaping up to be a very positive weekly Nifty expiry for us. But let's get a fundamental sense of what to expect from this market move today. We have Mr. Sudeep Bandopadhyay, market expert, joining us on the show. Sudeep, hi, good afternoon. Give us a sense on the way the market is moving, and not particularly only the Nifty 50 index, but let's talk about some of its constituents. Because on one side, you have a 9.25% cut on Trent, a 4.5% cut on Reliance, but on the other side, you have Apollo, ICICI Bank, HDFC Life and Tata Consumer that are trying to keep the Nifty afloat and trying to do all the heavy lifting. Talk to us about the trend that you're seeing built up in the market right now, especially for names like Trent and Reliance, where the gash seems to be getting deeper by the minute.
I think these are company-specific happenings. Well, Trent, definitely the numbers which came were very, very disappointing. And at that kind of multiple where Trent quotes, there is very little margin of error. The company has been maintaining that they will have about 25% growth, whereas they're consistently below that. Market was expecting 20-21% growth. Now they have come up with a 17% growth number. And this is not a same-store sales growth. This includes all the new store openings. So it's really disappointing. And with this kind of growth, you cannot definitely expect the kind of multiple at which Trent is quoting. So obviously there's a disappointment and market is, punishing the stock and is coming down. There are challenges as far as Reliance is concerned because, the overall, the oil related scenario is a little fluid at this stage. And I think Reliance had gone up very close to its all-time high, and some profit booking, some correction is happening there. Overall, the market is a little soft. I think the news flow coming from the global markets hasn't been supportive, particularly on the India-US trade deal front. The statements coming out haven't at all reassured the markets about the trade deal happening anytime soon. That's been a disappointment, undoubtedly. Of course, today's market movement, you have to take with a pinch of salt because today is the weekly expiry and there are a lot of, position shifting, which does happen. So I won't read too much into this correction at this stage, but yes, there is definitely company-specific movements happening, which the market is reading as signals for their future performance.
Okay, so that's on Trent.
Does Trent become a buy for you?
Well, Harsh, it's very, very difficult to predict at this stage. The multiple at which it is quoting is still very, very steep. And the way the growth has slowed down, I think, unless there is something which is dramatic, which is going to happen in the fourth quarter, I would expect another 10-15% value erosion from current levels also, if they continue to perform the way they are performing now.
Okay, Sudeep, thanks for that view coming in. So that's the take on Trent. Yes, continues to be as tricky as ever to gauge what would be a good time to enter Trent. But Kunal believes now is as good a time as any. But on that note, we'll slip into a very short break. Keep the conversation going on the other side.
This is worth sharing. Faster Wi-Fi on the new Emirates A350.
Confused by the market noise? Benchmark your commodity trade with Big Mint's trusted price indexes. We know the pulse of the market. Real data, real markets. We are ISO audited. We have robust market methodology. Big Mint, trust the price. Trade with confidence.
Presented by Ageas Federal Life Insurance, Har Wada Mumkin. In association with SBI, the banker to every Indian truly.
देखिए आप तो राजा हैं, बस एक आवाज लगाई और सारे काम हो जाते हैं। ऐसे ही आईडीएफसी फर्स्ट बैंक की ऐप से एनआरआई कस्टमर्स जहां भी हैं वहां से उनके बैंकिंग के काम हो जाते हैं। फिर क्या, घर बैठे बैठे अकाउंट खोलना हो या इंडिया में इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करने हो या फिर इंटरनेशनल नंबर पे यूपीआई एक्टिवेट करना हो तो यहाँ से कर सकते हैं। ये देखिए, बात समझ गए ये भी।
2026, take notes. Manifesting. For my little Miss Sunshine, tickles and giggles. Also want to be a biker chick this time. And year 2026, only love for my people and myself. To manifest my best life, nature's cosmic energy.
Now mine, natural diamond intention pendants.
AU करंट अकाउंट के साथ मिलता है फ्री यूपीआई क्यूआर ओवरड्राफ्ट फैसिलिटी और एक ही ऐप से बैंक के सारे काम। AU
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
Anytime is a good time for multi-asset allocation funds. Invest in equity, fixed income, gold, silver through one fund.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Rohit.
Yes, sir.
We need to talk, okay?
Oh, yeah. That's Air India now.
Welcome back, and you're watching Closing Trades here on ET Now. We also are joined in by Narendra Solanki from Anand Rathi Shares and Stockbrokers. Narendra, we've firstly welcome. We've had a long, engaging discussion with regard to Trent in particular. Where do you sit on this stock? Would you, at this point, buy?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Definitely, the numbers, the headline numbers which you have seen were disappointing, and this has been the consecutive third quarter where the company has underperformed. Now, you have to, from the valuation perspective, you have to see it from where we are coming. So we are coming from a high growth pedestal, which was upwards of 30%, 35% kind of growth. And now we are looking at growth which is subdued, sub 20%, wherein the company has guided for a growth of at least of about 25% for this fiscal year. And now in the 3 quarters, we have seen it is well below 20%. So it looks difficult in Q4 alone to company to get to an average of 25%. So I think if you see this kind of a disappointment in the growth, so I think the valuation multiples at which the stock is trading becomes very difficult to justify with this kind of a growth. And I think we have to see how things shape up from here. Right now, it's very difficult, even at this valuations at which the stock is trading at this point in price. So now it becomes a question of what does the management say about in terms of when would they would be seeing a sharp recovery coming back in terms of growth. So until unless we see that kind of recovery, wherein the company consistently clocks growth above 25% or around 30%. So I think the valuation at which the stock is trading, even at now, would also be very difficult to justify in medium term.
Okay. Let's shift focus to pharma. Divi's Labs is one of those stocks which is absolutely in focus. Stock is up 4.5%, so completely different from what we've just been talking about with regard to Trent. I'll quickly quote a Citi note, which I read this morning. We think 2026 can be an inflection year for Divi's, is what Citi says. Company has strong pipeline catalysts over the next 12 months. GLP-1 is one of those catalysts. Contrast media and some increased capacity of loperamide are some of the other triggers for the stock of Divi's. Besides that, various other custom synthesis products are maturing, is what they're saying, and may also get commercialized in the near term. While the generic segment too is expected to witness a recovery in 2026, the pipeline of products which are seeing patent expiry this year is strong, and which is what they are bullish and positive about. When you're looking at the target price that Citi has given, 9,140 is the target price. So 30% upside from here is what Citi is seeing on a Divi's Labs. And that's one of the reasons why the stock is up 4+% in trade today. Now, first let me go across to Sudeep. Sudeep, you have a view with regard to Divi's. Do you like it?
Well, I do like it. I think I did also check the Citi note. I think they have painted a very, very positive picture of the prospect of Divi during 2026. I agree to an extent. I think Indian pharma, particularly the players like Divi's, should do well in the current calendar year and going forward as well. So yes, the valuation wise also there is some upside from current level. It's not cheap, and one cannot look at cheap stocks in Indian market today. So if you are an aggressive investor, you can remain invested for 1+ year. Even now, Divi's Laboratory is a good buy.
Okay. Kunal, what's the view with regard to Divi's on charts?
Yeah, this is a very good breakout for Divi's Lab. I remember, I think, mid of December somewhere, the stock had come back towards 6,550, 600 levels. From there, the stock had corrected 200, 250 odd points, had come back to 6250, 6300 levels. But now I think it's made a very good reversal of sorts. So this completes a rounding bottom of of sorts for Divi's Labs. Of course, it's on a short-term time frame, but this could probably mean that the stock could be good for another 250 at least points on the upside. So would expect 6,850, 6,900 as a near-term target for Divi's Lab.
Narendra, the other set of stocks which were in focus this morning were some of the larger cap banks, and Axis, Kotak and IndusInd, all three came out with numbers. Now, fascinatingly, the numbers from IndusInd were the weakest, but the stock is up nearly 2% in trade. So that's just markets, right? But talk to us about how you looked at the numbers and whether either of or any of these stocks are on your radar as picks for both value as well as the kind of growth that they're offering.
I think the overall numbers which we have seen from the private banks especially have been decent. There has been pickup seen in both disbursal as well as deposit growth. So overall sector-wise numbers were good. Now coming to back the performance, I think we like Axis and ICICI Bank as top picks in private banks. And in overall banking sector, we still continue to favor PSU banks over private banks if you talk about the overall banking sector.
Okay. PSU over private. I know Kunal also is of the same view. What we'll do is we'll chip into a very short break. But stay with us here. Tata Motors is the other stock we'll talk about. Stay with us here on ET Now. Where PV volumes, at least in India domestically, looked decent. I mean, 25% growth is more than decent, but those numbers looked quite strong. But CV also looked very, very good. Where do you sit with regard to this debate of PV versus CV, and which pocket would you bet on? Ancillaries versus OEMs versus the others?
Yeah, definitely the auto sector data has been very encouraging, and the overall growth has been better for almost all the sectors, be it two-wheelers, commercial vehicles, passenger vehicles. But in the overall scheme of things, if I have to rank it on the basis of segments, then the first rank would be two-wheelers, and then ancillaries, and then third would be commercial vehicles, and the fourth would be passenger vehicle segment. In that order. And definitely commercial vehicles is also looking great, and the growth is coming back. And I think we are almost into early stages of cycle, and the high growth period is yet to be seen. And I think next two to 3 quarters are going to be very good for the commercial vehicle segment as well. So this would be my play as far as auto sector is concerned.
Let me quickly address IEX, because that's the stock which is absolutely flying in trade. Now, APTEL, which is the appellate tribunal for power, has questioned how market coupling rules were made. What they're saying is CERC should have acted quietly and independently. Hearing, of course, is underway. They have said that it has noticed too much theatrics in the making of these rules. So what you've therefore seen as a result is one of the stocks, IEX, which has been languishing for now, I believe, at least 6 to 8 months, has now seen a large spike. We're now at upper circuit where IEX is concerned. And we'll try and get a perspective as well with regard to this. If this were to get reversed, Narendra, how big is it for a player like IEX?
I think it's a regulatory issue, and we have been seeing the company has been struggling because of this since last many quarters, and it's very difficult to actually arrive at any conclusion. So the volatility would continue to persist unless we see some more clarity and details in the actual jurisdiction. And I think even if we take it as at a face value, so I think this would not be the final settlement of the issue. Then I think this would also linger in and go to the higher jurisdictions. And I think this issue would continue to remain unless it is finally settled with some higher authorities. So I think initially we might see some kind of a relief, but I think this would continue to remain to keep coming back, and volatility would remain higher for the stock in the medium term.
So the appellate tribunal for electricity making it clear that that the tribunal itself is not very happy with the way these rules have been made, and therefore you're seeing now a 12% jump on the stock price of IEX. What are you seeing on charts, Kunal? Stock would have flown, but talk to us about your observations, how contracts in terms of pricing has shifted.
Yeah, there's been a major jump in the F&O side trading for IEX in the last 15-20 minutes when this news has come. The options activity is also very, very encouraging for IEX. The best part is that as of now, if the stock closes at 152-ish kind of a zone, this could probably be like a 4-5 month of a swing breakout for IEX, and that I believe could probably itself propel the stock price further going forward. So it's of course a very initial kind of a price action. The stock price generally settles after this kind of a flurry in terms of an uptick. But assuming if the stock holds on, say in the next couple of days to that 152 range, we could be looking at a fresh breakout candidate in terms of the PSU name.
Well, on the back of that, IEX is absolutely flying in trade, 12.5% higher. So very, very strong in terms of the move there. Narendra, we were talking about pharma a few minutes ago. How do you view the pharma basket, and where within pharma are you finding favor or value?
In pharma overall, we have been positive since long in the hospital segments. Now, in pharma drug segment, we have a view that there's a very limited downside risk, and the sector should turn around in a quarter or so. Now, considering the GLP-1 opportunity, I think our top three markets, Brazil, India, and Canada, are going off patent in Jan and March. So the new launches in GLP-1 is one of the key factors which the markets are waiting for the data and see how things go there. So this opportunity definitely is a very big opportunity, and these three markets are very big, and it should provide a significant run-up in the early calendar year 26. And going down the line, in the remaining part of the calendar year, we see a lot of opportunities in generic 2, which is the complex generics launches happening over there. So this should also support the sector overall. So I think here, even in the drug manufacturing companies, the downside is limited, and we can start stock-specific pickings for medium to long term.
Okay. In fact, let's go across. We have Charu joining us at this point. Okay. Charu will take a minute to join us. Let's wait for her to patch in. But this looks considerable in terms of the move. Just the manner in which the stock has moved, it seems that this could be big with regard to where IEX is concerned. Narendra, just very quickly with regard to sectors, pockets which you are liking at this point, let me throw it open. what are you liking? Anything that has decent value on the table at this point? We're at or very, very close to life highs. So trying to get a sense from you over the next 12 months. What are your top bets?
In terms of sectors, I think we continue to continue to remain positive on autos, auto ancillaries. Metals is another space which is very interesting, although it has run up. We have seen a lot of rally in this space, but I think uh, 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 s- uh, commodities are on a tear, and I think this year may be year best year for the commodities. So you can still we are still positive on the commodities. Plus, domestic manufacturing space wherein we find good stock-specific opportunities are some stocks in defense sectors. There's a huge opportunity. You can find bargains over there. Obviously, in healthcare, hospitals is one of the segments we are positive on. We are neutral to positive on pharmas, wherein stock-specific opportunities are lying there, aligning with the new launches, GLP-1 opportunities. The financials, we are positive, wherein we prefer overall from the financial price, we prefer NBFCs as at this stage, and in banks, we prefer PSUs.
Okay, all right. Now let's switch focus to consumer durable companies. They're hiking prices, durables in particular. We spoke about how copper prices going up could be a concern. This year, the summer is expected to be warmer, which means that a lot of the AC manufacturers as well as a lot of the refrigerator manufacturers could well benefit, but pricing going up is a concern.
Yeah, definitely. I think the companies should be able to pass on the prices. See, ultimately, what happens is that most of the companies actually run with a model wherein they hedge the prices on the spot, so whatever they are producing. And if there are any discrepancies, they tend to pass it gradually to the customers. So until unless we see a very sharp runaway or very volatile moves, so I think the companies would be able to pass on the prices. Now coming to the copper specific thing, so herein I think one aspect we have to look at it. In electric appliances, there are two categories. One is premium category and one is below premium category. So most of the companies who are manufacturing below or who are manufacturing or selling products into a sub premium category are already using alternatives to the copper to a very large extent possible. And while this copper issue would be majorly impacting the companies who are producing and selling items in premium categories, because that is where you have to give good quality product and efficient product or something like that. So in segment wise, I think premium category would be seeing some kind of impact, but largely the companies would be able to pass on this.
Okay, so that's with regard to consumer durables and especially with regard to what copper price increase could well mean. But we'll go across. We had a conversation with MV Photovoltaic, and this is a company where Jefferies initiated coverage and gave it a 70% upside. The stock was up 10% in the morning. So even post that, you still had an upside of nearly 60% left, or rather 7 to 8%. You still have a 60% because the target price is 320 on this one. We spoke to Suhas Donti, who is the CEO of the company, over the outlook, the order book, and more. Listen in to a slice of that conversation.
We have an order book of 5 gigawatt as of September 2025, as of the last quarter. And this is an order book that is to be executed in the next 12 to 18 months. And if you see, it is a very healthy order book, roughly around 8 to 9,000 crores would be the revenue for the 5 gigawatt that you typically would come. 6 gigawatt of the expansion that we have planned, which was part of also our initial plan when we were coming into an IPO, where we have already secured the land for. This line is to be executed by March 2027, and that is the end of financial year 2027. And this basically is a project of 5,500 crores. And we have the necessary funding already in place, and the project is moving in the right direction.
Right, so that one was a buzz in trade. This one trades at 23 times. Narendra, your view with regard to a play on the solar space, on the solar power space, I beg your pardon, and is this something that looks good to you?
I think overall, we do not have any recommendation on this specific stock yet. But overall, the space is, I think, very tightly run by the government-backed projects. And as far as the government's commitment is concerned in terms of renewable energy sector, so we see a medium to long-term growth traction being there from these in solar as well as other clean energy sector. So overall, the growth in the sector would remain high from for medium to long term for next 3 to 5 years. So there is no doubt about it, and we have seen a lot of very large target has been set up by the government in both clean energy and renewable segments. So I think the sector would be growing, and we are positive on the overall sector.
Spoke to another big mover in list of stocks to buy.
I think in small caps, we prefer, as I said, PSU banks. So banks like Bank of India have been performing really well. Indian Bank is also another bank. So these two banks, we are positive in terms of small cap banks.
Okay. Now, very quickly, Charu is obviously feeding us with